One introduction RAWSEP view: the United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building, for just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the eco-design wood stove, and international convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP view: purple air PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.
Hi, my name is Lily. Andrew gave you the intro to residents against wood smoke emission particulates and their concern for air pollution from indoor residential wood burning. Residents against wood smoke emission particulates, or RAWSEP, would like every near neighbor of an indoor residential wood burner whose wood smoke enters their yards and sickens the near neighbors to have a purple air PM 2.5 monitor hanging from the eaves of their home to measure the level of PM 2.5 entering their yards. That measurement of air pollution should be used as evidence of unnecessary air pollution, and each indoor residential wood burner should be shut down based on that evidence, one indoor residential wood burner at a time if necessary. The presentation by Andrew ended at 2 minutes 5 seconds. The same presentation by Emma starts at 2 minutes 3 seconds before the end of this podcast. So I am Lily, your timekeeper, and you can start the next podcast at 2 minutes 5 seconds in if you would not like to see the presentation by Andrew a second time. This presentation by me, Lily, ends at 5 minutes in. What you will see in the main content of this RAWSEP podcast will be news about air pollution from indoor residential wood burning and how that air pollution is being combated by ordinary people just like you who are unfortunately near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners at this time. There will also be news about unnecessary and highly polluting use of wood as fuel in industrial wood burners and preventable air pollution from wood burning wildfires. There will also be news about air pollution from PM 2.5 from gas-powered cars. There will also be news about airborne diseases which are also preventable with vaccines such as COVID-19 and measles and whooping cough, to name just a few. In 2025, residents against wood smoke emission particulates is also concerned with combating the Trump destruction of government funding for programs which protect human health through the Department of Health and Human Services, and Trump destruction of programs which fund the science and medical research plan to protect human health from preventable illnesses. Protecting human health is a patriotic act, and our defense against enemies is weakened if we are not as healthy as we can be. Heat pump rebates are now offered by the federal government, distributed through the eligible United States, are available in 2025, and are the best, cleanest, and now cheapest alternative to indoor residential wood burning if that burning is actually done to purportedly save money. Wind and solar as sources of the electricity that powers heat pumps and electric cars is also cheaper than burning wood. The adverse health effects that are caused by indoor residential wood burning also come at a cost to near neighbors, both in shortening and ending their lives, and in actual hospital, clinic, and funeral costs. Instead of being compensated monetarily, near neighbors should instead be able to achieve immediate relief by stopping indoor residential wood burning in their hyper-localized neighborhoods, which relief readings from purple air PM 2.5 monitors used as evidence of air pollution will help them achieve. Welcome to news about hopeful scientific and medical achievements that will also help us achieve the goal of clean air to breathe.
Webisode 57DHYAFZXM January 28, 2026 Planting trees to replace those lost to fire is not enough. 1. Trump has opted out of the Paris Accords twice. 2. What are the Paris Accords? 3. What are the Paris Accord targets? Number 38. Planting trees to replace those lost to fire or cut down for deliberate burning is a tactic that is no longer strong enough to slow climate change. Enough forests are losing their climate. Superpower fires are increasingly driving forest loss worldwide. RAWSEP interjects that deliberately cutting down trees to use as burning material to heat homes contributes incrementally to climate change through tree burning, emitting CO2 and PM 2.5, which hasten climate change. PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size is the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Using industrial wood burning to replace industrial coal burning is also counterproductive, since wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as coal burning. Wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as natural gas burning, using natural gas as a bridge to the truly clean renewables of wind and solar is a short-term solution in need of a better solution for residential home heating. More wind and solar facilities must be built and residents will gain economically, since the price of wind and solar is plummeting. Main content 1. So has anything changed over those 10 years from 2015 to 2025? Quite a bit, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. For one thing, every country remains committed to the Paris Agreement, except one, that is the United States. 2. What are the 2015 Paris Accords? The Paris Agreement on climate change was adopted on December 12, 2015 at the COP21 conference and opened for signature on April 22, 2016. It entered into force on November 4, 2016, 10 years after a breakthrough climate pact. Here is where we are. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit organization. The New York Times, November 7, 2025. Almost exactly 10 years ago, a remarkable thing happened in a conference hall on the outskirts of Paris. After years of bitter negotiations, the leaders of nearly every country agreed to try to slow down global warming in an effort to head off its most devastating effects. The core idea was that countries would set their own targets to reduce their climate pollution in ways that made sense for them. Rich, industrialized nations were expected to go fastest, and to help lower income countries pay for the changes they needed to cope with climate hazards. 10 big things that have happened in the last 10 years. 3. What are the Paris Accord targets? 31. The target of limiting emissions. It is met, but only partially. Emissions are still rising, but not as fast as they were if countries stick to current policies. The global average temperature is projected to rise by 2.5 to 2.9 degrees Celsius, which is 4.5 degrees Fahrenheit to 8.3 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century. That is a significant improvement from where we were 10 years ago. In 2015, scientific models said we were on track to increase the global average temperature by up to 3.8 degrees Celsius, which is 10.6 degrees Fahrenheit, but none of the biggest emitters in the world, China, the US, the European Union, and India, have met their Paris promises. 32. The target of maintaining or slowing global temperature. RAWSEP view it is not adequately met. Back to the list. The last 10 years were the hottest on record. We started burning coal, oil, and gas on a large scale roughly 150 years ago. As a result, global temperatures have been rising ever since, and the last 10 years have been the hottest 10 on record. The most scorching was 2024 this year. It forced the temporary closure of the top of the Eiffel Tower at the peak of tourist season and shuttered schools in parts of the United States. 33. Increasing use of solar and wind targets. RAWSEP view this target may be met above expectations despite impedance efforts by Trump. Trump impedance is being reversed by U.S. courts. Back to the list. Solar is spreading faster than we thought it would. Solar power has been the largest source of new electricity generation for the last 3 years. Most of this new solar infrastructure is coming up inside China, and Chinese companies are making so much surplus solar equipment, cells, modules, and everything that goes into them that prices have plummeted. Forecasts keep underestimating solar growth today. Solar panels hang from apartment balconies in Germany and cover vast areas of desert in Saudi Arabia. Solar and onshore wind projects offer the cheapest source of new electricity generation. Little wonder then that in the India electricity sector, more than half of the generation capacity now comes from solar, wind, and hydropower. There is a race to power the future. China is pulling away. Here is what the rise of clean energy looks like from space. 34. Increasing use of electric vehicles targets. This target may be met above expectations or could be met. Electric vehicles are now normal. The way the world moves has changed. At the time of the Paris Agreement, Tesla had just unveiled its luxury electric SUV. Fast forward to last year, worldwide 1 in 5 cars sold was electric. In the United States, 265,000 children ride electric buses to school. In Kenya, electric motorcycle taxis ferry commuters to work. Chinese car makers are assembling EVs abroad, including in Brazil, Indonesia, and soon in the petrostate Saudi Arabia. Electrifying transportation is important because it is one of the biggest sources of emissions globally. Currently, electric vehicles are displacing 2 million barrels of oil demand per day, roughly equal to the total daily demand of Germany. The electric vehicle future is coming, just a little more slowly. Tiny electric vehicles pack a bigger climate punch than cars. In a first, sales of electric vehicles surpassed diesel in Europe. 35. Increasing contribution of money from rich countries to climate mitigation efforts. Rich countries have put relatively little money on the table. One of the key tenets of the Paris Agreement was an acknowledgement that countries had different responsibilities. Wealthy, industrialized countries were supposed to pony up money to help poorer countries do 2 things: transition to renewable energy and adapt to the problems brought on by a hotter climate. Last year, countries agreed that a total of $1.3 trillion would be needed every year by 2035 to help developing countries manage climate harms, including $300 billion a year in public monies from rich countries. That is far more than what rich countries have thus far made available. Where that money will come from is still uncertain. Public climate finance from developed countries would need to increase substantially. In 2022, funding broke $100 billion for the first time. There is a $300 billion target by 2035. Meanwhile, some of the poorest countries are getting hit by extreme weather. They are falling deeper into debt as they try to recover. 36. The target to stop use of coal burning. Coal is in a weird place. The growth of coal is slowing worldwide. That matters because coal, which powered the modern industrial economy, is the dirtiest fossil fuel. Coal is waning in wealthy countries, including the United States, despite the Trump efforts to expand its use. Britain, the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution, closed its last coal plant in 2024. That year, more than half of the electricity in Britain came from renewables. RAWSEP interjects that Britain still counts as renewable the energy from the Drax wood-burning power plant in Yorkshire, which emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as coal burning, making that wood burning a dirty renewable. But wood burning is erased from statistics of PM 2.5 emissions when countries are calculating whether their climate goals are being met, because wood burning is technically considered a renewable, although in reality wood burning is a dirty renewable. Back to the list, but coal is still growing in China, which despite its pledge to clean up its economy has gone on to build more coal plants than any other country in America. Coal demand fell faster than expected, while in China it grew faster than expected. The world needs to quit coal. Why is it so hard? China pledges to stop building coal-burning power plants. Abroad mine, baby mine. Trump officials offer $625 million to rescue coal. 37. The target to use natural gas only as a temporary bridge to the truly clean energy of wind and solar. RAWSEP view actions by Trump impede progress to get off polluting natural gas and on to truly clean wind and solar. Back to the list, the planet-warming fossil fuel natural gas is ascendant thanks to America. Over the decades since the Paris Agreement was signed, the United States has rapidly become the leading producer and exporter of gas in the world. Liquid natural gas opened up an export boom. Trump, in his second term, has supersized that ambition. Trump appointed a former fracking executive as the U.S. Energy Secretary, and Trump has used the sale of American gas as a diplomatic and trade cudgel. That matters because while gas is cleaner than coal as a source of electricity, it stands to lock the world into gas use for decades to come. How the U.S. became the biggest gas supplier in the world. Number 38. The target to plant trees to maintain the forests of the world. RAWSEP interjects that burning trees for energy, whether industrially or residentially, diminishes forests at the same time as burning trees emits health-harming air pollution. Planting trees to replace those lost to fire or cut down for deliberate burning is a tactic that is no longer strong enough to slow climate change enough. Back to the headline of the list, forests are losing their climate. Superpower fires are increasingly driving forest loss worldwide. RAWSEP interjects that deliberately cutting down trees to use as burning material to heat homes contributes incrementally to climate change through tree burning, emitting CO2 and PM 2.5. which hasten climate change. PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size is the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Using industrial wood burning to replace industrial coal burning is also counterproductive, since wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as coal burning. Wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as natural gas burning. Using natural gas as a bridge to the truly clean renewables of wind and solar is a short-term solution in need of a better solution for residential home heating. More wind and solar facilities must be built and residents will gain economically, since the price of wind and solar is plummeting. Back to the list, 38. Forests are losing their climate. Superpower fires are increasingly driving forest loss worldwide. That is because rising temperatures and more intense droughts are making forests burn more easily, and also because people are setting fire to forests to clear land for agriculture. The forests of the world are absorbing less carbon dioxide. In 2024, forests absorbed 2.2 gigatons more CO2 than they emitted. That is a low number, limiting the ability of many forests to store planet-warming carbon dioxide. In fact, it is pushing parts of the Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the planet, to a startling tipping point. Parts of the Amazon are releasing more carbon than trees and soil are absorbing. One recent study found the same pattern in the rainforests of Australia. Global forest loss hit a record last year as fires rage for first-time. Fires are biggest threat to the forest climate fighting superpower. Has the Amazon reached its tipping point? In California, an app developer created a tool to help his neighbors track the path of wildfires. 310 RAWSEP view was increased electrical usage for AI envisioned in Paris in 2015. Back to the list, U.S. electricity demand is soaring in part because of artificial intelligence. AI power demand had always been expected to increase worldwide. More than 1 billion people still need access to electricity, and billions of others around the globe are buying air conditioners and plugging in electric vehicles. But a big surprise came from the United States. American electricity demand was pretty flat in the 2010s, but is now rising significantly and is projected to climb for at least another decade. One reason: energy-hungry artificial intelligence (AI). The big tech AI data centers are driving up electricity bills for everyone. What does all this mean for the 8 billion people of the world? The physical damage inflicted by global warming costs the global economy around $1.4 trillion a year. Webisode 57DHYAFZXM. January 11, 2026. Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cartoon 1 of 5. Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1. The current government bid for an overall cut in scientific funding to $154 billion from $198 billion would be a plunge of 22%. Cell 2. This week, the Senate Appropriations Committee released a bipartisan package of bills. Cell 3 that largely scraps the current government-planned cuts to federal science programs. Cell 4. Congress will set aside roughly $188 billion for federal research. Cartoon 2 of 5. Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1. $188 billion for federal research will only be a drop of 4%. Cell 2. This rejects the current government push to let our competitors do laps around us. Cell 3 last year, the current government administration called for a cut in federal basic research of more than 1/3. Cell 4, the current government sought even larger cuts for the National Science Foundation, which sponsors much of the nation's basic research. Cartoon 3 of 5 Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1, the current government proposed that the National Science Foundation NSF budget be slashed to $3.9 billion. Cell 2 from $8.8 billion, a drop of 56%. Cell 3, the Senate package countered with a reduction to $8.75 billion. Cell 4, or less than 1%. Cartoon 4 of 5 Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1, the Senate package includes $24.4 billion for NASA, a 1.6% cut. Cell 2, $8.8 billion for the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA), a 4% cut. Cell 3, $8.4 billion for the Department of Energy Office of Science, a 1.9% increase. Cell 4, $6.2 billion for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, roughly flat. Cartoon 5 of 5 Congress is racing to undo thousands of cuts to federal science programs. Cell 1, the Senate and the House are now not far apart for negotiations on a final budget. Cell 2, the House's moves on 2026 science budgeting add up to $185 billion, which is close to the Senate figure of $188 billion. Cell 3, but this cannot undo the damage that the current government administration frenzy of budget cutting and administrative chaos. Cell 4 brought to the nation's scientific establishment.
Webisode 57DHYAFZXM January 11, 2025. If science funds are restored, then fund alternatives to wood burning. Cartoon 1 of 5. If science funds are restored, then fund alternatives to wood burning. Cell 1, fund heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero and also act as air conditioners. Cell 2, fund extending a smart electric grid everywhere, including all rural areas. Cell 3, fund wind and solar energy sources that produce electricity sent to the smart grid. Cell 4, fund batteries that store the electricity produced by wind and solar long-term for use in emergencies. Cartoon 2 of 5. If science funds are restored, then cut dirty energy that is now funded. Cell 1, cut funds for biofuels such as wood stoves and wood burning for home heating. Cell 2, cut funds for biofuels such as corn-based ethanol for automobile fuel. Cell 3, cut funds for wood and other biofuels used to replace coal burning in industrial plants. Cell 4, cut funds for fossil fuels as well as cut funds for biofuels. Cartoon 3 of 5. If science funds are restored, enact regulations that fund removal of indoor residential wood-burning appliances. Cell 1, fund resident-owned Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors. Cell 2, given free to any near neighbor of an indoor residential wood burner. Cell 3, whose wood-burning PM 2.5 emissions enter the yard of the near neighbor and sicken them. Cell 4, use the data downloadable from the Purple Air map as evidence to shut down each indoor residential wood-burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary. Cartoon 4 of 5. If science funds are restored, enact regulations that make electric vehicles and public transport affordable. Cell 1, reinstate rebates for electric vehicles. Cell 2, fund high-speed electric transport that will be low cost to all. Cell 3, enact fuel regulations to discourage production of gas-powered vehicles. Cell 4, fund research that makes production of electric vehicles efficient and cost-effective. Cartoon 5 of 5. If science funds are restored, enact regulations that make home heating and transport by electric vehicle affordable. Cell 1, do not allow subsidies for luxury electric vehicles. Cell 2, do not allow subsidies for home heating for individuals making over a certain salary. Cell 3, tax the rich to provide clean energy subsidies for the middle income and poor. Cell 4, keep in mind that the Energy Department and the EPA should work to stop air pollution that harms human health as well as slow climate change.
Webisode 57DHYAFZXM January 4, 2026. Would smoke affects the family adversely? Cartoon 1 of 2. Cell 1, when you know you are not protecting your family well enough. When you replace air filters and air purifiers every month instead of every 6 months. Just do not burn wood indoors residentially to begin with. Cell 2. When you are scared whenever someone opens a window. Just do not burn wood indoors residentially to begin with. Cartoon 2 of 2. Cell 1. It gives me no great joy to say this. Smog towers do not work. Cell 2. Carbon capture does not work. Just do not burn wood industrially in place of coal to begin with.
Red Green Fox here. The quick Red Green Fox jumped over the barriers to clean air. Red Green Fox here. Ready to sing to you the names of the 2025 major wood-burning biomass industry subsidy opponents. 1. Biofuel Watch. 2. Bulkley Valley Stewardship Coalition of British Columbia, Canada. 3. Comite Schoen Luft, which means Beautiful Air Committee in German. 4. Dogwood Alliance. 5. Equity Group Foundation, nicknamed EGF. 6. Environmental Paper Network, nicknamed EPN. 7. Natural Resources Defense Council, nicknamed NRDC. 8. Prakaunia Narzexwisseskick Istet, which means Workshop for All Beings in Polish. 9. Rachel Carson Council. 10 Solutions for Our Climate, nicknamed SFOC.
Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. Saying the quiet part out loud. Roar. Hi, I am Tiger. Our human asked us to get up from our naps and start Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. She gave us a list of internet allies which we will post for her here.
Hi, I am Leone. It is better for your mental fitness to go to these websites than to go to bro sites for advice. Substack letters from an American Heather Cox Richardson. Substack your local epidemiologist. The Midas Touch. The Guardian. The New York Times.
One introduction. RAWSEP view. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree. But it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen, and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom. The Eco-Design Wood Stove and International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP view. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.